Who would win in a fight between 300 Spartans holding a narrow pass and 300 angry elephants?
In a hypothetical battle between 300 Spartans holding a narrow pass and 300 angry elephants, the outcome would largely depend on the specific terrain, tactics employed by the Spartans, and the behavior of the elephants. Spartans were known for their exceptional military training and discipline, particularly in the use of the phalanx formation. In a narrow pass, they could effectively utilize this formation to create a wall of shields and spears, making it difficult for the elephants to penetrate their defenses. However, elephants, particularly when angry or frightened, can be incredibly destructive and difficult to control. Their sheer size, weight, and strength give them the potential to cause significant damage to anything in their path. In a confined space like a narrow pass, the elephant's charge could trample and crush the Spartan defenses, potentially breaking through the shield wall. The outcome of the battle would likely be determined by several factors. Terrain. If the pass is narrow enough to limit the number of elephants that can charge at once, the Spartans would have a better chance of holding their ground and using their superior tactics and coordination to wear down the attacking elephants. Tactics. The Spartans' ability to maintain their discipline and formation, even in the face of a terrifying and chaotic elephant charge, would be crucial to their success. If they can effectively target the vulnerable areas of the charging elephants with their spears and keep the animals from breaking their lines, they would stand a better chance of winning the battle. Elephant behavior. The behavior of the elephants during the battle would play a significant role in the outcome. If they become too frightened or disoriented, they might turn on each other, flee, or inadvertently cause harm to their own side, making it easier for the Spartans to hold their ground. In summary, while it's difficult to predict the outcome of this hypothetical battle with certainty, the Spartans' tactical prowess, discipline, and ability to effectively use the terrain to their advantage could potentially give them the edge against the 300 angry elephants.
I forgot to mention the elephants have also mastered the phalanx formation. These are some really smart elephants. One of them even has a pogo stick. Shit is bonkers, yo.
In this highly imaginative and fantastical scenario, where 300 angry elephants have mastered the phalanx formation, and one even has a pogo stick, the outcome of the battle against 300 Spartans in a narrow pass becomes much more uncertain. With the ability to form a phalanx, these intelligent elephants would be able to present a more organized and coordinated front against the Spartans. They would be able to protect each other and utilize their massive size and strength more effectively, making it even more challenging for the Spartans to hold their ground. The pogo stick-wielding elephant adds an extra layer of unpredictability and chaos to the battle. It could potentially use its pogo stick to jump over the Spartan shield wall, disrupt their formation from within, or simply cause confusion and fear among the Spartan ranks. In this extraordinary scenario, the outcome would be highly dependent on the ability of the Spartans to adapt to the unexpected tactics and skills of these exceptional elephants. The Spartans would need to rely on their discipline, military training, and quick thinking to overcome the unique challenges presented by the phalanx-wielding elephants and their pogo stick-riding companion. While it's impossible to predict the outcome of such a fantastical and unpredictable encounter, the battle between the Spartans and these extraordinary elephants would undoubtedly be a spectacle unlike any other in the annals of history.
I forgot to mention the elephants have the protection from Spartans ability.
In this increasingly fantastical scenario, where the 300 angry elephants not only have mastered the phalanx formation and have a pogo stick-wielding member but also possess a protection from Spartans ability, the outcome of the battle would heavily favor the elephants. If the protection from Spartans ability grants the elephants immunity or resistance to the attacks and tactics of the Spartan warriors, the Spartans would find it nearly impossible to inflict any significant damage on the elephants. In this situation, the Spartans would be at a considerable disadvantage, as their primary means of defense and offense would be rendered ineffective. The Spartans would need to come up with a completely different strategy to counter the elephants, possibly by trying to outmaneuver them, utilizing the terrain to their advantage, or finding an indirect way to neutralize the elephant's protection ability. However, given the numerous advantages and abilities the elephants possess in this scenario, it is highly unlikely that the Spartans would emerge victorious. The elephants' combination of intelligence, formation mastery, unique abilities, and protection from Spartans would make them an almost insurmountable challenge for the 300 Spartans in the narrow pass.
Whoopsie, I forgot to mention the Spartans have the protection from elephants ability. That bit is really important.
In this wildly imaginative scenario, where the 300 Spartans have a protection from elephants' ability, and the 300 angry elephants have a protection from Spartans' ability, along with their phalanx formation and the pogo stick-wielding elephant, the battle would reach an unusual stalemate. With both sides having protection abilities against each other, their primary offensive and defensive tactics would be rendered ineffective. The Spartans' spears and shields would be unable to harm the elephants, while the elephants' massive size, strength, and phalanx formation would be equally ineffective against the Spartans. In this situation, the outcome of the battle would depend on which side could find a way to bypass or neutralize the other's protection ability first. This could involve utilizing the environment to their advantage, employing indirect or non-conventional tactics, or finding a way to exploit weaknesses in the protection abilities themselves. Ultimately, in this increasingly fantastical and evenly matched scenario, the outcome of the battle between the 300 Spartans and 300 angry elephants would be highly unpredictable and would likely depend on the creativity, resourcefulness, and adaptability of each side as they attempt to overcome the unique challenges presented by their opponent's abilities.
While the elephants and Spartans are busy whacking away at each other to no avail, another opponent arises, 500 angry weasels. Not just any weasels, however, but psionic weasels, who have just crawled their way from the Underdark, where they have finished devouring the last of the Mind Flayer menace.
As the 300 Spartans and 300 angry elephants are locked in a stalemate, their attentions are suddenly drawn to an unexpected and formidable new threat. 500 psionic weasels emerging from the Underdark after feasting on the last of the Mind Flayer menace. These weasels, imbued with powerful psionic abilities due to their diet of mind flayers, pose a unique challenge to both the Spartans and the elephants. Neither side has protection abilities against these fearsome weasels, making them vulnerable to the psionic powers and coordinated attacks of these cunning creatures. Recognizing the danger posed by the weasels, the Spartans and elephants might be forced to put aside their differences and form an uneasy alliance to face the new enemy. Combining the Spartans' tactical prowess, discipline, and protection from elephants' ability with the elephant's size, strength, phalanx formation, and protection from Spartans' ability, they might stand a chance against the psionic weasels. In this three-way battle, the outcome would be uncertain and heavily influenced by the tactics and cooperation between the Spartans and elephants, as well as the weasels' ability to use their psionic powers to exploit their opponent's weaknesses. The struggle would be a true test of each side's adaptability, resourcefulness, and determination. In the end, the victor of this fantastical and chaotic confrontation would likely be determined by the ability of each side to effectively utilize their unique skills and strengths while overcoming the challenges presented by their formidable foes.
Oh no, another challenger joins the fray, a single B-2 bomber with 1 megaton nuclear bomb.
In this highly fantastical and increasingly chaotic scenario, the sudden arrival of a B-2 bomber carrying a 1 megaton nuclear bomb introduces an overwhelming and devastating new element to the battle between the 300 Spartans, 300 angry elephants, and 500 psionic weasels. A 1 megaton nuclear bomb has the potential to cause massive destruction, with a blast radius extending for several miles and causing widespread devastation within that area. The explosion would release a tremendous amount of heat, radiation, and pressure, annihilating everything within its immediate vicinity and causing catastrophic damage far beyond. If the B-2 bomber were to deploy the nuclear bomb, the outcome of the battle would be unequivocal. All the combatants, the Spartans, the elephants, and the psionic weasels, would be wiped out, along with much of the surrounding environment. In the face of such a destructive force, the unique abilities and strengths of each side would be rendered insignificant. The only chance for the Spartans, elephants, and weasels to survive would be to recognize the impending danger and work together to find a way to neutralize or escape the threat posed by the B-2 bomber and its devastating payload. However, given the immense power of a 1 megaton nuclear bomb, the odds of any side emerging victorious or even surviving in this highly imaginative and catastrophic scenario would be exceedingly slim.
Wouldn't you know it, one more opponent joins the fray. Bob. Bob is a simple, 1-1 humanoid wearing a flannel jacket and sipping coffee. He has protection from nukes, however.
In this extraordinarily whimsical scenario, as the 300 Spartans, 300 angry elephants, 500 psionic weasels, and a B-2 bomber with a 1 megaton nuclear bomb face off, the arrival of Bob, a simple 1-1 humanoid wearing a flannel jacket and sipping coffee, adds another unpredictable element to the battle. Bob, with his protection from nukes ability, would be immune to the devastating effects of the nuclear bomb carried by the B-2 bomber. While this ability would not provide him with protection against the other combatants, it could make him an essential figure in the unfolding chaos. If the other participants in the battle become aware of Bob's unique ability, they might see the potential for an alliance with him in order to neutralize or survive the threat posed by the B-2 bomber. Bob could become an unlikely hero or a key figure in brokering peace among the combatants. Conversely, Bob could simply continue to sip his coffee and watch the events unfold from the sidelines, as his protection from nukes ability would ensure his survival even in the face of a nuclear detonation. In this wildly imaginative and complex scenario, the outcome would be determined by the actions and alliances of each side, as well as the role Bob chooses to play in the unfolding conflict. One thing is certain, though: the outcome would be anything but ordinary.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. However, on the next turn, Wrath of God was played. Bummer.
In this ever-evolving fantastical scenario, the play of Wrath of God adds a dramatic twist to the battle between the 300 Spartans, 300 angry elephants, 500 psionic weasels, the B-2 bomber with a 1 megaton nuclear bomb, and Bob with his protection from nukes. Wrath of God, a powerful card from the Magic: The Gathering game, destroys all creatures on the battlefield when played. In the context of this imaginary scenario, we can consider it as an overwhelming force or event that wipes out all the combatants, regardless of their unique abilities, strengths, or protections. As Wrath of God is played, the battle comes to an abrupt and devastating end. The Spartans, elephants, and psionic weasels are all annihilated, along with Bob, despite his protection from nukes. The B-2 bomber, being a non-creature entity, would likely be unaffected by the Wrath of God, and could continue on its course or leave the now devastated battlefield. In the aftermath of the Wrath of God, the once chaotic and diverse confrontation has been reduced to desolation and destruction, leaving no victors and a solemn reminder of the power and consequences of such apocalyptic forces.
What you have said so far seems to be God's own truth. However, the B-2 bomber was an artifact, and it required a 1-1 humanoid to pilot it, which is no longer amongst the living. The B-2 bomber becomes unequipped and crashes into a nearby mountain.
As the fantastical scenario unfolds, the revelation that the B-2 bomber is an artifact requiring a 1-1 humanoid pilot adds another layer of complexity. With the destruction of all the creatures on the battlefield due to the Wrath of God, the B-2 bomber is now without a pilot. Devoid of its essential humanoid operator, the B-2 bomber loses control and, tragically, crashes into a nearby mountain. The impact not only destroys the bomber itself, but also the 1 megaton nuclear bomb it was carrying. The resulting explosion would create a massive shockwave, further ravaging the surrounding landscape. In this calamitous turn of events, there are no winners, only devastation and the somber reminder of the consequences of unleashing such powerful and destructive forces. The once tumultuous battle between the 300 Spartans, 300 angry elephants, 500 psionic weasels, and the seemingly invulnerable Bob has ultimately ended in a catastrophic conclusion, leaving a scar on the land that will not be forgotten.